Welcome to the Curious Chronicles, where we dive deep into the fascinating lives and stories of history's most intriguing figures. Today, we take a look at the life of a man whose innovations revolutionized the automobile industry and transformed the world we live in. Henry Ford was a complex figure, whose beliefs and actions were controversial, yet whose impact on American culture and industry is undeniable. In this video, we'll explore the life of this enigmatic figure. From his humble beginnings on a farm in Michigan, to his rise to become one of the most successful businessmen of the 20th century. Join us as we delve into the curious and captivating life of Henry Ford. Early life. Henry Ford was born in a rural area of Michigan in 1863, where he spent his childhood on his family's farm. He was the second of 7 children, and as a child, he showed an interest in machines and mechanical processes. He attended a one-room schoolhouse for several years and later went to a larger school in a nearby town. As a young man, Ford worked as an apprentice machinist in Detroit, where he developed his skills as a mechanic and engineer. He also worked for the Detroit Dry Dock Company, which built steamboats. And this experience would later inspire some of his ideas about assembly line production. In 1888, at the age of 25, Ford married Clara Bryant, and they had a son, Edsel, in 1893. In his spare time, Ford worked on developing his own gasoline-powered engine, which he completed in 1893 and later used to power his first car. Write this with more detail, please. Henry Ford was born on July 30, 1863, in Greenfield Township, Michigan, on a farm owned by his parents William Ford and Mary Littlecote Ford. As a young boy, Henry was always fascinated by machines and how they worked. He was particularly intrigued by the steam engines that he saw on the nearby railroads. Henry's father was a hard-working farmer who taught his children the value of hard work and frugality. Henry attended a one-room schoolhouse in Greenfield Township until the age of 15, where he received a basic education in reading, writing, and arithmetic. However, his interests were always focused on mechanics and engineering. He spent most of his free time tinkering with machines, and by the age of 16, he had built his first steam engine. After leaving school, Henry Ford worked on his family's farm for a few years before moving to Detroit in 1879 to work as an apprentice machinist. He spent his days working in a machine shop and his evenings reading books and tinkering with machines in his basement. He soon became an expert in machine maintenance and repair, and was eventually promoted to a full-time machinist position. In 1882, Ford left his job as a machinist to work for the Westinghouse Engine Company in Pittsburgh. He returned to Detroit in 1884 and started working for the Detroit Dry Dock Company, which built steamboats. It was during this time that he gained valuable experience in production processes and the use of standardized parts. In 1888, at the age of 25, Ford married Clara Bryant, who he had met at a New Year's Eve party. The couple had a son, Edsel, in 1893. During this time, Ford continued to work on developing his own gasoline-powered engine. He completed his first engine in 1893 and used it to power his first car, the quadricycle, in 1896. Ford's experiences as a machinist and engineer provided him with the knowledge and skills he needed to create innovative production methods, which he would later use to revolutionize the automobile industry. After years of experimenting with engines and automobiles, Ford founded the Ford Motor Company on June 16, 1903, in Detroit, Michigan. Initially, the company was small, with just 10 employees, but it quickly grew as Ford's vision of creating an affordable, reliable automobile took shape. One of Ford's first major successes was the Model T, which was introduced in 1908. The Model T quickly became a popular choice for consumers due to its affordable price, simple design, and reliability. Over the years, the Model T became a symbol of American innovation and ingenuity, and it was even nicknamed the Tin Lizzie by the public. Despite the success of the Model T, Ford was always looking for ways to improve the manufacturing process and make cars even more affordable. In 1913, he introduced the moving assembly line, which allowed workers to remain in one place and perform a single task. As the car chassis moved past them, This innovation allowed Ford to produce cars at a much faster rate. And the cost of the Model T dropped significantly, making it even more affordable for the average American. The success of the assembly line quickly spread throughout the manufacturing industry. And it helped to establish Ford as a leader in innovation and efficiency. By 1914, the company was producing nearly half of all cars in the United States, and Ford had become one of the wealthiest and most powerful men in the world. Ford's commitment to innovation did not stop with the assembly line, however. He continued to experiment with new materials, designs, and manufacturing processes. And the Ford Motor Company continued to produce some of the most popular and iconic cars of the early 20th century. Some of these included the Model A, the Ford V8, and the classic Ford pickup truck. Today, the Ford Motor Company is still one of the largest car manufacturers in the world, and it remains a symbol of American innovation and entrepreneurship. Henry Ford's legacy continues to inspire new generations of inventors, entrepreneurs, and business leaders, and his impact on the automotive industry and American culture is still felt to this day. Henry Ford was known for his strong opinions on a wide range of topics, including politics, religion, and social issues. He was deeply patriotic and believed in the American way of life, which he saw as being based on individual freedom, self-reliance, and hard work. Ford believed that the success of the Ford Motor Company was proof that anyone could achieve success through hard work and determination. In addition to his views on American values, Ford also held some controversial beliefs. He was a supporter of eugenics, the idea that certain races and individuals were biologically superior to others. He believed that the gene pool of the human race should be improved by promoting the reproduction of those with desirable traits and discouraging the reproduction of those with undesirable traits. Ford published several articles on eugenics and funded research on the subject through the Ford Foundation. He even established a sociology department at the Ford Motor Company that was tasked with studying the social conditions of workers and their families, including issues related to hygiene, housing, and education. Later in life, Ford became a vocal critic of World War II and accused Jewish financiers and politicians of pushing the United States into the conflict. He was also accused of being sympathetic to the Nazi regime in Germany and wrote several articles in the Dearborn Independent, a newspaper he owned, that were anti-Semitic in nature. The articles, which were later compiled into a book called The International Jew, claimed that a Jewish conspiracy was responsible for many of the world's problems, and painted Jews in a negative light. Despite these controversial views, Ford remains a significant figure in American history for his contributions to the automobile industry and his innovations in manufacturing techniques. Henry Ford was a complex and enigmatic figure, revered by many for his contributions to American industry and culture, but also criticized for his controversial beliefs and actions. He was a man of strong opinions on a wide range of issues, including politics, religion, and social issues. Ford believed in the power of hard work and determination, and he saw his success as proof that anyone could achieve success in America if they were willing to work hard. However, Ford's views on eugenics were deeply troubling. He believed that certain races and individuals were biologically superior to others and advocated for the sterilization of those deemed unfit to reproduce. In 1924, Ford wrote an article entitled Eugenics and Society, in which he argued that the best way to prevent the multiplication of the unfit is to stop their breeding. He also funded research on eugenics through the Ford Foundation, which provided grants to universities and research institutions that supported eugenics research. As the world entered the tumultuous period of World War II, Ford's views became even more controversial. He became a vocal critic of the war effort, claiming that it was being waged by international financiers and other shadowy forces. He was accused of being sympathetic to the Nazi regime in Germany, and some even claimed that he provided financial support to the Third Reich. Despite the controversy surrounding Ford's beliefs and actions, there is no denying his impact on American culture and industry. His innovative approach to manufacturing revolutionized the automobile industry, making cars affordable for the average American and transforming the way people lived and worked. Ford's legacy continues to be felt today, even as his troubling beliefs remain a stain on his reputation.